In honor of the Assembly's Armenian Genocide Remembrance Ceremony, the day's prayer will be offered by our guest chaplain, Father Yegishe Kasachikyan. Father Kasachikyan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Almighty God, on this day of remembrance for the Armenian Genocide martyrs, we pause to honor the lives lost and the enduring spirit of a people who faced unimaginable suffering. May their courage and resilience inspire us to stand against injustice wherever it may arise, and to speak truth with clarity and conviction. Bless the members of this assembly and their loved ones. Grant us the wisdom to lead our communities with sincerity, integrity, and a steadfast commitment to justice. May our words and actions reflect fairness, compassion, and a dedication to the dignity of every human life. Let the unwavering faith and courage of the genocide martyrs guide us to live with conviction, to serve one another with humility, and to act with compassion in all that we do. Remove all barriers so that we may see clearly, recognize where change is needed, and respond with courage and wisdom. May our service be whole, our hearts steadfast, and our efforts guided by the principles of justice and mercy. Today, as we remember the Armenian Genocide, we honor not only those who perished, but also the survivors and their descendants, whose perseverance teaches us the power of hope, the strength of memory, and the necessity of bearing witness. May their legacy inspire all of us to work tirelessly for peace, human dignity, and the protection of all communities against hatred and oppression. Amen.
Before the flag salute, the Homenit men, Scouts are with us for today's ceremony. Scouts, please present the colors. Assemblymember Harbidian will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Members and guests, please place your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The color guard is dismissed. Members and guests, you may be seated. Okay, members, thank you so much. I appreciate your patience. We're actually going to skip through at this moment directly into, we'll move into business on the daily file. We'll do the second reading, file items 1 through 18. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bills 2784, 2052, 2148, 2341, 2509 with amendments, 2651 with amendments, 2261 with amendments, 1902 with amendments, 2108 with amendments, 2428 with amendments, 2683 with amendments, 1914 with amendments, 2083 with amendments, 2423, 1789 with amendments, 2325 with amendments, 2348 with amendments, and Assembly Bill 2324 with amendments.
All bills will be deemed read. All amendments will be deemed adopted. On to concurrence and send amendments, file item 19, we're going to pass and retain. On reconsideration, file items 20 through 22, all items shall be continued. That brings us to the Assembly third reading file. Without objection, we're going to move on to item number 48. That is House Resolution 97 for the Assembly's commemoration of the 111th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide. The clerk will read.
House Resolution 97 by Assembly Member Schultz and others relative to the Armenian Genocide.
Thank you, members. Members, can you please take conversations off the floor? Assembly Member Schultz, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise today to present House Resolution 97, a resolution of remembrance, one that asks us all to not only look back, but to bear witness to the truth. We gather today in this hallowed chamber to commemorate the Armenian Genocide. And let's be clear about what it was: a systematic and premeditated campaign of violence and murder orchestrated by the Ottoman Turkish Empire. On Thursday in my district and across this great state, and frankly across the globe, we will mark a solemn occasion. The Armenian Genocide began on April 24th, 1915, and led to the deaths of more than 1.5 million Armenians over 8 long and horrific years. The lives lost, and I mentioned this last year, 1.5 million, it's an astounding number. It's easy to say, but when we really think about what that means, these were mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, murdered. Hundreds of thousands of Assyrians, Greeks, and Christians also perished, and one of the most atrocious violations of human rights in our global history. But colleagues, this is not merely a matter of distant history, it's a human story. It's a story of families uprooted, of cultures nearly erased, of voices that were silenced but never forgotten. Survivors carried their memories across generations, building new lives in new places while holding on to the truth of what they endured. Their resilience is extraordinary. It is one of the things that I admire most about the Armenian American community, and a source of strength and inspiration for me every day. But it doesn't diminish the gravity of what was lost. Why are we here today? Why does this matter? We're gathered together in recognition of the 111th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide because remembrance is not a passive act. It's an act of responsibility. When we acknowledge these atrocities honestly and wholeheartedly, we affirm a simple but powerful principle: that human dignity is non-negotiable and that truth must never yield to convenience or to denial. As a legislative body and as elected officials, it is our duty to ensure that our nation and our world recognize the genocide and the countless lives lost during this dark chapter of our history. And let's be extraordinarily clear, Turkey and its ally, Azerbaijan, continue to this day to deny that the Armenian Genocide ever took place. Members of our own government at its highest levels have downplayed this atrocity, referring to it merely as a great catastrophe. Shameful. Denying the atrocities, remaining silent, or even intentionally avoiding the use of the word genocide to describe this historical event is tantamount to complicity. Silence invites reoccurrence. Please allow me to be clear. This resolution doesn't seek to reopen old wounds. It seeks to ensure that the pain of the Armenian American community is not ignored. It stands against the erosion of historical memory and against conditions that allowed such crimes to occur in the first place and be repeated to this day. History has shown us again and again that silence can be a partner to injustice, and we must choose differently. In recognizing the Armenian Genocide, colleagues, we honor the victims. We stand with their descendants. and we reinforce a commitment that extends beyond any single community. A fundamental principle that the deliberate destruction of a people anywhere is a concern for people everywhere. In closing, let this resolution be more than mere words on paper. Let it be a statement of who we are and what we are willing to defend. Let it remind us that the measure of our time in public office, in service to the public, is not only what we achieve, but it's what we're willing to remember, to acknowledge, and to confront. Because if we fail to remember, we risk repeating mistakes of the past. But if we choose to remember clearly and courageously and without compromise, we strengthen the foundation of justice itself. I urge my colleagues to support this resolution, and in doing so, affirm that memory matters, truth matters, and humanity must always come first. I respectfully, at the appropriate time, Mr. Speaker, ask for your aye vote on H.R. 97 and that the first roll be open for co-authors.
Thank you, Assembly Member Schultz. Assembly Members Boer, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members. First of all, I want to thank my colleague from Burbank for bringing this important resolution today. As a member representing historic Little Armenia near Hollywood, it is my honor to stand in strong support of this resolution, a clear and strong statement that the Armenian people do not stand alone and that the state of California stands with you. Today, we remember the 1.5 million Armenian men, women, and children who were intentionally and systematically murdered through massacres, forced labor, and death marches in an attempt to destroy an entire people. Over a century has passed since the Armenian Genocide, yet Turkey and Azerbaijan still deny basic historical facts. This refusal has helped pave the way for continued and profound injustice, including Azerbaijan's ethnic cleansing of Armenians from Artsakh in 2023. H.R. 97 expresses both California's recognition of the horrors of the Armenian Genocide and our unwavering solidarity with the people of Armenia and Armenians in the diaspora, including in our state. This resolution also underscores the immense strength and resilience of the Armenian people. The survivors and their descendants around the world have carried that history forward, proudly maintaining their culture, traditions, and language in the diaspora and restoring the Armenian nation. Today, as some in the United States look to ignore, deny, or rewrite chapters of our American history, it is more important than ever to make clear that we stand for the truth. This resolution assures Armenian Americans that, in the face of over a century of denial, California remains on the right side of history. I respectfully request your support for H.R. 97. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Assembly Members Boer. Assembly Member Ramos, you are recognized.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. As chair of the California Legislative Native American Caucus, I rise in support of H.R. 97, commemorating the genocide of the Armenian people. Genocide is not a term to be used lightly. It specifically refers to the state-sanctioned attempt to exterminate a group of people. The Armenians lost 1.5 million people in a slaughter by Turkish rulers of the Ottoman Empire starting on April 24th, 1950. Mass deportations, forced religious conversions, and ethnic cleansing were also practiced by that empire. These are the crimes against humanity suffered by the Armenian people, which began more than a century ago. The state of California also sanctioned the killing of California Indian people, and it serves as a reminder that we do not have to look too far to see these atrocities, these horrific actions taken by a government. And we can only stop these acts of humanity by standing together, united in solidarity with one another. The attempt to wipe out a group of people because of one's identity is never forgotten and becomes a permanent part of one's core. It is my hope that Armenians one day receive acknowledgement and an apology from the Turkish government who oppressed them and brought the slaughter towards them with the genocide that took place. And a time comes when we stand together and we move forward in this world for apologies going out to those that were harmed, It's not about rewriting history. It's about getting history right and making sure that people truly understand that we stand side by side with you within these horrific acts that have been taken out against people. The Native American Legislative Caucus stands in solidarity with you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Ramos. Assemblymember Tangipa, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I too rise in support of H.R. 97. A year ago, I shared the story of how I was in an Armenian wedding of a few years. Then I was at an Armenian baptism for that baby, Bedros Babagian. And to announce again today, there was another new baby, Nezrin Babagian, that is a testament to what the Armenian people stand for and what it means by remembering this genocide isn't just recognizing the atrocities that have been done in the past, but recognizing the success for those who made the trek, who fought against the oppression, and who arrived here in the United States to live the American dream. The state of California is rooted in Armenian history, and even though I get to represent the second largest Armenian population, the Glendale Historical Society has a special quote that starts in the beginning, that when the first Armenians arrived here, there were 3 brothers that arrived in Fresno. Those 3 brothers worked together to bring agriculture and farming and founded a town named Yedem, which stands for the Garden of Eden, right here in the Central Valley. It is the only town in the entire United States named after Armenian and the Armenian language. That was where I was at for the wedding, was in Yedem. And our history is connected to them. And I rise just to share that as we see the Armenian community right now need support. And the ones here that came to celebrate the American dream is still alive today. We recognize the Armenian genocide. And while some will not say the words genocide, we do. And we recognize it. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Tangipa. Assemblymember Caloza, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today I rise in strong support of H.R. 97, designating April 24, 2026 as a day of commemoration of the 111th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide. I want to begin by thanking my colleague from Burbank, who is also my neighbor and represents Glendale. Together we represent Glendale. For putting this critical piece of legislation forward, as well as for my colleague from Pasadena for his leadership as chair of the Armenian Legislative Caucus. I also want to thank all the members of the Armenian community who are here today, who took time out of their busy schedules to be with us at the Capitol, so that together we could uplift the voices and stories of Armenian families, both here and across the globe. As we heard, over 111 years ago, the world witnessed one of the most horrific atrocities of the 20th century, the Armenian Genocide. Between 1915 and 1923, more than 1.5 million Armenians, along with thousands of Assyrians and Greeks, were systematically prosecuted, forcibly displaced, and killed by the Ottoman Empire. This was not an accident of history, it was a deliberate attempt to erase an entire nation. This history is deeply personal to so many in our state, because as we know, California is home to one of the largest Armenian communities in the world, and I'm so proud to represent one of the largest Armenian communities in the state. Our Armenian diaspora is not only impacted by the Armenian Genocide, but in so many ways is shaped by it. Their story is not just about loss, but it's about survival and resilience. In my district, I've seen firsthand how our Armenian community carries forward the strength and resilience of this history. In Glendale, we have great Armenian schools, churches, small businesses, cultural centers that contribute to our state every single day. And as Californians, we must do more than believe in dignity, truth, and justice. We must act upon it, because as we know, Armenian history is American history. So today, let us remember and stand with the families and survivors and all that they have lost, and respectfully ask for your aye vote on H.R. 97. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Caloza. Assemblymember Tangipa, you are recognized. Thank you, Assemblymember Caloza. Assemblymember Tangipa, you are recognized. Thank you, Assemblymember Caloza. Assemblymember Tangipa, you are recognized. Thank you, Assemblymember Caloza. Assemblymember Tangipa, you are recognized. Thank you, Assemblymember Caloza. Assemblymember Tangipa, you are recognized. Thank you, Assemblymember Caloza. Assemblymember Tangipa, you are recognized. Thank you, Assemblymember Caloza. Assemblymember Tangipa, you are recognized. Thank you, Assemblymember Caloza. Assemblymember Tangipa, you are recognized. Thank you, Assemblymember Caloza. Assemblymember Tangipa, you are recognized. Thank you, Assemblymember Caloza Thank you, Assemblymember Caloza. Assemblymember Mark Gonzalez, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am honored to rise in support of H.R. 97, which recognizes Friday, April 24, 2026 as the 111th anniversary of the Armenian Genocide. Assembly District 54 is home to the oldest and largest memorial of the Armenian Genocide in the state of California. Located prominently in the city of Montebello, this monument was built in 1968, and every year on April 24th, thousands of Armenians from all across Los Angeles come to remember this horrendous crime against humanity. This monument is tall, and it's hard to miss, but that's the point. Monuments should force you to contemplate their existence and what they stand for. Its 8 75-foot columns are a powerful reminder of the horrors committed during the Armenian Genocide, where over 1.5 million people were murdered and over 1 million are displaced. But it's also a testament to the strength and resiliency of the Armenian community that has survived and continues to survive against new threats of genocide and ethnic cleansing. I want to thank my colleagues from Burbank and Pasadena for bringing this resolution forward, and I'm proud to stand alongside my colleagues as we recognize this day.
Thank you, Assemblymember Gonzalez. Assemblymember Alanis, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, as a proud member of the California Armenian Legislative Caucus and a co-author of H.R. 97, I rise today in solemn recognition of the Armenian Genocide. More than 1 million Armenians were lost to violence, displacement, and suffering that should never have happened. Behind those numbers are families, traditions, and entire communities that were forever changed. Today is about more than history. It is about memory, about honoring those who were taken and standing with those who carry that loss across generations. In Assembly District 22, especially in Turlock, I am honored to represent a large and enduring Armenian community whose history and resilience are deeply woven into our region and strongly supported by dedicated local leaders such as Deacon Daniel Idn, a respectful, faithful leader and trusted advocate whose leadership has helped sustain and strengthen the Armenian community in our region. We are happy to have him with us today. Also with us today are other family members that I introduced earlier. But in California, we are so proud to stand alongside a strong and resilient Armenian community, recognizing this truth matters to them and to all of us who believe that dignity, justice, and the human life must always be defended. We remember, we acknowledge, and we stand together. And I respectfully ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Alanis. Assemblymember Harbidian, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today with a profound sense of duty and honor and thanks for this resolution, H.R. 97. I want to thank my friend and colleague from Burbank for bringing it and speaking so forcefully and eloquently, and for everyone who stood up and spoke. One of the highlights every year is getting to hear non-Armenians try to pronounce Armenian names. And I'll tell you, it's very difficult. You always think there should be more vowels, and there's just too many consonants, but I appreciate the bravery of standing up and trying to do it, and every Armenian here feels for you in trying to do it, but really thanks you for trying to do it. And let me just say that in all seriousness, it means so much as the only Armenian in the legislature to have so many non-Armenian allies. You know, we can't do this on our own. No one can do anything on their own. But this day is always so special because you're all Armenian today. You all are Armenian today when you vote on this resolution and you call the genocide that happened 111 years ago, you call it a genocide for what it is, and historical fact establishes that. And we do it not only because we want to make sure that history doesn't repeat itself. Unfortunately, history often rhymes. Maybe it doesn't repeat itself, but if only we would have done this sooner. If only we would have recognized the Armenian Genocide sooner, or the ethnic cleansing and the genocide of the many Native American tribes here, maybe we would have saved more communities, more people. As Hitler said before he invaded Poland, for who today speaks of the annihilation of the Armenian people? And if only more leaders had stood up and recognized the past genocides, the genocide of the Armenian people, we could have saved so many lives. And that's why we do it, but we also celebrate the Armenian community. I'm a descendant of the Armenian Genocide. My family fled Armenia right before the genocide officially kicked off, and unfortunately, many of my family members never made it. But we celebrate not only a descendant of the Armenian Genocide standing here on the floor today to recognize it, but all of the Armenians that call California home. California is a land of immigrants, it's a land of freedom, it's a land of diversity, and Armenians are very proud to call this great state our home. And we are the largest population of Armenians in the nation that live here in Burbank, Pasadena, throughout the Central Valley, and into Northern California. And we celebrate that. So this is a joyous day. And so I just want to thank every one of you for supporting the resolution, for doing everything you do to support the Armenians throughout this great state. And I can't thank you enough for doing what you do to make sure that every Armenian here and everyone that watches it feels your respect and your love on a day that is very sorrowful for many of us for what happened. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I would ask for an aye vote on H.R. 97.
Thank you, Assemblymember Harbidian. Seeing and hearing no further debate, Assemblymember Schultz, do you wish to close?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Briefly, colleagues, to all of you who spoke, and even to those who didn't, I know that you are with us in this fight for recognition of the truth, and I thank you all for that. In my relatively short time on the floor, I don't think I've ever been so cognizant of the weight of the responsibility of carrying this resolution for such an important part of the community that I call home. And in doing so, we're not doing something performative. We are sending, hopefully, a clear and unified message to our communities and to the rest of the world, and that is that the truth matters. The genocide happened. We're not going to shy away from it. As my colleague from Clovis so eloquently said, this is the truth and we're all going to stand by it. And I can only hope that in sending a unified message, even the highest levels of our government will begin to finally acknowledge the truth. To all of those who are in the chamber today and watching back at home, I simply leave you with this. It's not my voice that's echoing in today's chamber. It's your voice, all of you who made the trip. I hope that in some small way you see that this body stands united. Wrong is wrong. Genocide is genocide. And with that, I humbly ask for all of you to join me in voting aye on H.R. 97. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Schultz. Members, the Assemblymember has asked for the first roll to be open for co-authors. All debate having ceased, clerk will open the roll for co-authors. All members vote who desire to vote. Members, this is for co-authors. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. There are 66 co-authors added. Without objection, we'll now take a voice vote on the resolution. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Assemblymember Schultz, you are recognized for your very important guest introductions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, this afternoon we are joined by so many in our chamber and in the gallery. I'm going to attempt to mention as many names as possible, and if I miss you, I'm so sorry. But we have, in no particular order, we have Tina Vartanyan with the Southern California Armenian Democrats, Kevork Hagopchian and Astane Suleimanyan with the Armenian National Committee of America, Western Region. We have Talin Yakubian with the Armenian Assembly of America, Artur and Athena Artinian, Armenu Balian. We have Natalie Bruton-Yanovkian with the California Armenian Legislative Caucus Foundation. We have representatives of the Burbank Armenian Association, Glendale City Clerk Suzy Abajian, and Glendale Mayor Artie Kasakian and Council Member Ellen Asatrian. I also want to give a shout out to our Homenetman Scouts, Ani Jamgochian, Aaron Yergatian, David Yakobian, and Viken Yergatian. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Please join me in welcoming them to the Assembly floor.
Members and our esteemed guests, before you leave the chamber from the gallery, if you could wait just a moment, please. Can everybody please stand? Please stand. We will now observe a moment of silence in remembrance of all those that lost their lives during the Armenian Genocide. Thank you. This concludes our ceremony. You may be seated.